Go.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Breakthrough 3. It's a journey of how to start your own business. Breakthrough is a virtual entrepreneurial training program of the NIIC and the Allen County Public Library. My name is Julie Sanchez, and I am the Breakthrough Program Manager for the NIIC, Northeast Indiana Innovation Center, right here in Fort Wayne. The NIIC Breakthrough Program teaches you how to start your own business from idea to launch. It is offered at no charge, and we are currently accepting applications. I am here today with my lovely co-hosts from the Allen County Public Library, Craig Bailey, who is a senior librarian, and Dee Gia, who is the manager of business and technology. Craig?
Hi, thank you, Julie. So just to make everyone aware, today's program is being recorded. And in order to improve the quality of everyone's listening experience, your microphones may have been muted. If you have a question or comment, please just use the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and Dee is going to be monitoring that, and we'll facilitate the conversation as we go. So thank you very much, and we'll go back to Julie for a little bit about the SWOT analysis.
Well, thank you, Craig. Today we are going to continue our discussion on market research. If you remember, in our last program, we discussed market research from a big picture perspective using secondary or already existing data. Today, we're going to discuss how we conduct market research from a grassroots or a local perspective. And before we start, we want to introduce you to a tool that will help bring both of those worlds together so you can better understand your business. It is called the SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. SWOT analysis is a planning and a brainstorming tool that helps people evaluate information, an idea, an issue, or a project. You could analyze some of your market research results using the SWOT analysis to strengthen your business plan. SWOT analysis is displayed or shown in a 4-square table that allows business owners to visually compare internal issues and external issues to each other, and then compare all 4 areas against one another. The internal factors of SWOT are strengths and weaknesses. These areas consist of areas in your business that can be controlled and changed. Some examples might be your business processes. Let's take finances, for example. All the money that comes in and goes out of your business. You could list the strengths of your financial operation as well as its challenges. You would ask yourself questions such as, what are we doing well? And what could we do better in this area? You could also list the strengths of your proposed business that you're working on. The external factors of the SWOT include opportunities and threats. These are the things that cannot be controlled. Some of these things, some examples of these things are demographics. This refers to your target customer's age, culture, gender, race, things that happen in your industry, or perhaps economic or market trends, or new or current technology. While being a wonderful tool, the SWOT analysis does have its limitations. It only looks at a moment in time, and it does not account for changing markets. Nonetheless, it is a good starting point in the assessing and the planning for your business. Craig?
So to kind of wrap our minds around that, we have some tools here at the library that bring business resources together, and we can look at an actual example, a real world example of a SWOT analysis. And the one we're going to look at here, and is one for Applebee's. Let me get my screen up for us. So some of you may have guessed, but we're going to actually head to Inspire, which is a database provided by the Indiana State Library that we feature on our website. This is our website here. And if we go under the Research tab and Research and Databases, we're going to get an alphabetical listing of databases. And Inspire is going to be one of those options. Okay. And we're just here in this general search. If we just do SWOT, we're going to get a bunch of results. But we're going to, I know we actually just want to look at a very specific one for Applebee's. So put that in real quick. Okay, here we go. Now we've got a couple here. We're going to take the most recent, see, and as Julie said, it's a moment in time. So they did one, and it looks like they did one in 2019. They've done one in the end of 2020. So let's look at that one, just to see what they're currently looking at. And this is only about 7 pages, and the organization they're going to have, it comes in 3 parts. So they have a company overview, key facts, and then the analysis itself. And the company overview and the key facts are really brief. It just says, Applebee's is part of a larger network, Dine Brands, different stuff like that. Then some key facts about where they're located, what their headquarters are at, and some contact information. Then we get into the analysis itself. And here you see they've broken out their strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats, and into that grid that Julie was talking about. And then they go into more of a verbal explanation of all of these things. So they start with strengths, broad product and service offerings. Their menu is pretty large and expansive, which means they can cater to a lot of different tastes. They have a robust operational network. They have said that they have lots of locations, and they're part of that larger network, that parent backing. So those are their strengths. They've said. Let's look at their weakness. Restaurant closures. They've been experiencing some restaurant closures, and that makes them think, well, okay, what's there's a weakness here. Something is happening. We need to be aware of this and looking at that. Opportunity. Skipping past that first one, we'll just one that makes a lot of sense is growing food service sector in the U.S. So they've evidently done some market research, and they have seen that the food sector, the restaurant sector in the U.S. is growing. So they're already part of that. They're already set up to take advantage of that. That is an opportunity that they can continue to take advantage of. And then the threat, who knew it would be the coronavirus outbreak? They have identified that this is a definite threat to their business model, as it is to so many of us, or kind of all of us. Also, the increasing labor wages in the U.S. and keeping our eye on that. That really affects their budget, and the intense competition. Applebee's is a restaurant that, you can think of some other restaurants that do similar, Ruby Tuesday, or Charlie's and different things. So they feel they want to be aware of that. A threat is that it's always intensely competitive out there for them, and they need to stay on their toes. That kind of wraps up their analysis that they did in 2020. And then that's just a great, like Julie said, it's kind of a great starting point for them to say, okay, now what do we've compiled this information. What do we do? And so, Julie, if you have anything more to say about that, but also I know you're going to tell us a little bit more about what kind of data is out there to be gathered to inform your SWOT analysis.
Well, thank you, Craig. So guys, we have just discussed a tool in our toolbox that will help us analyze or think through information. It's called the SWOT analysis. So in market research part 1, we discuss collecting already existing data. Already existing data is called secondary data, or secondary research, or secondary information. And we showed you resources such as the Allen County Public Library. We showed you resources such as the Bureau of Labor Statistics, trade journals, and industry reports that could assist you. And there's just one more secondary resource that we would like to share with you today. It's called the Census Bureau. Craig?
Thank you, Julie. So the census, it's a big operation we're all kind of aware of, that goes on every 10 years or so. And they do all sorts of things. We've got a lot of data. And a lot of that data is featured really quickly accessibly on the census.gov site. So it looks like this. So if we go here and we want to gather some data about demographics or whatever, we can come to this quick facts tile, this access local data. We're really, in this session, we're wanting to see how do we find out information about the people and the institutions nearest us. So we'll click that. And this brings up a really quick table of, and it's got the top, the different items, but then it's got the numbers for the United States. So population estimate, about 328 million, seems about right. So we can add other columns to this though to compare and contrast. So I'm going to add Indiana. Now this thing is a little picky. It doesn't want you to just type in something. It's not going to do a very good job of knowing exactly what you're looking for. It wants you to select the term it suggests. And databases in general can be kind of picky this way. They have a very specific set of terms that they want you to use. So it's often good to take the suggestion, even if you're typing almost the exact same thing, or in this case, the exact same thing. If you hit a snag, that's why librarians like Dee and I and others in our department are here. We're here to help, we're here to help you generate these different numbers that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and click the suggestion, Indiana. And we're going to see that it adds a column. Now I'm also going to do Fort Wayne. Again, I'm going to wait for it to suggest, and you see this one, it looks, I would have just typed Fort Wayne, but it's saying, no, use Fort Wayne City, comma, Indiana. So I'll click their suggestion. I can play by their rules. And there, it's added that column now. Okay, so for this display, I thought, what if someone's wanting to start a daycare? So one demographic data point that might be really good to know is how many people under 5 live in Fort Wayne or live in the US in general. So we'll go down here and you can see that that is a column, that is an item that they cover, persons under 5 years, percentage. So if we look at the national data, it's about 6%. If we look at Indiana, well, we're here in Indiana, we're a little bit above that. We're at 6.2%. So this might be seems to be a little bit of a market in Indiana, more than normal for daycares. But man, when we look at Fort Wayne, it's even more. So we can say, wow, in Fort Wayne, the market for daycare for people under 5 that need to be taken care of, there's a pretty robust market here. We're well above the national average. This is informing your decision to start a daycare. It's informing, when you go to talk to potential investors or partners, like, it makes you sound very informed to say, yeah, well, we're 1.1% above the national average children, people under 5 here. So that's just scratching the surface. The data that they gather, you can go even deeper with it. You can actually look at zip codes, which I'm going to try to do really briefly. I'm not going to I've already generated the searches just to give you an idea of really how deep you can go. So the bulk of the data for the census is actually kept on a different website. It's the data.census.gov. So I'll share a couple of screens I generated for that. So let's say you decided you're opening a daycare, but you're looking for a location and you want to know, okay, well, Fort Wayne has an elevated number compared to national, it has an elevated number of people under 5. Well, I decided, well, let's look at, let's start with 46802. We decided maybe there's a location there you're looking at. Well, what's the demographic for this zip code, for this neighborhood? And we can see that under 5 years for 46802 is actually about 7.7%. Well, that's even above the city average. National was 6, Indiana was 6.1 or something, 7.1 for the city and 7.7 for the neighborhood. So that's a good sign. That's going to inform your decision. And then we can look at different zip codes. I've generated a table for 46815, and you can see it says right here, 46815. Under 5 years, 6.5%. So still well above the national average and different things. But it's just a good data point to have going in when you're looking, where am I going to start my business? Who is my business going to serve? Who has access to my business? So don't want to overwhelm you too much with all these numbers and tables. Again, that's why, librarians, we're happy we're here. We're happy to help guide you if you get stuck. So now we're going to go on back to covered that pretty thoroughly, I think. We'll go back to Julie, who's going to tell us about some other kinds of data you can also gather.
Thank you, Craig. That was very interesting. So just as important as collecting secondary research, a savvy entrepreneur must also conduct primary research. Primary research is any type of research that you collect yourself. It's called raw data. Primary research includes talking with other people within your market to attain a grassroots or local perspective. Some examples could include issuing surveys or you preparing questionnaires, focus groups, or perhaps doing interviews and hosting observations. There are a host of resources at the Allen County Public Library that can help you put together a questionnaire or walk you through step by step how to do these other types of primary research. Craig.
Yeah, and you know, we do have digital resources that we've talked about a lot recently, but again, we always like to, you know, we have these physical resources, books that cover a different, this one is the essentials of marketing research, and it really goes into detail about how do you form a focus group, how do you write a survey. Sometimes this one goes into a bit about how many people do you need to talk to kind of get a good sample. You know, thinking like giving a little bit of a thought processes for a researcher, making sure you get good information, the best information you can. So we've got physical resources, we've got digital resources, and we've got our own skill sets that we can help you navigate. And we're constantly learning, and we look forward to learning along with you and helping you discover the best information that's out there. Julie, you want to wrap us up?
I certainly can. So guys, today we learned more about secondary, already existing, and primary research. And we learned about an exciting tool called SWOT Analysis, which helps us analyze information or ideas, issues, or projects. I have a little tip for you. If you are a new business, you can use the SWOT as a part of your planning and development phases. If you're an existing business, you would use the SWOT analysis to assess if changes are needed within your operations to remain competitive in the marketplace. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to Deja.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for both Julie and Craig for sharing those great resources to us. At this time, if you have any questions, you can send it to us, type it in the chat box, and we'll answer your questions. Let me see. Okay, and the same time, I'm gonna share the contact information with you, so you will know when and where to contact us. So you can either contact the ACPL, the Island County Public Library, by sending us an email to ask@acpl.info, or call us at 260-421-1200. And you can contact Julie at NIIC, and the contact number is 260-227-3108. I don't think I see any questions so far, but before we let Julie and Craig go, I want to add that in addition to the resources that Craig shared with you, the Inspire and Census Bureau, the Island County Public Library also has another wonderful database. It's called A2Z database. So what it does is you can easily find a local business, their sales revenue, their contact information, and more than that, you can also find the competitors in this area and some geographic information. And if you missed today's session, don't worry, we're gonna upload this session to the ACPL and NIIC's YouTube link, and you can watch them over again. So again, thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Craig and Julie, for your presentation, and we'll see you next time.